Well, welcome back. And we are now here to present you our last panel for the day, who will be discussing the future of smart spaces and IoT. And this panel will look into the future of space management and access control in buildings and the role IoT plays out here. Let me introduce the panel again to you, starting with Mr. Badr Yusuf Salmin, the Facilities Management Director, United Facilities Management Company, Kuwait. We also have with us Mr. Rashid Hamida, the Technology and Performance Director from Innova. And also joining the panel is Mr. Robert White, the Head of Technology and Innovation, NG Solutions. And also in this panel is Ms. Javeria Hijis, the ICT Director of Fanuc Services. And the session is moderated by Mr. Prabhu Ramchandran, the founder and CEO of Facilio Inc. So before we start this discussion, viewers, please do note that the Q&A will be addressed at the last 10 minutes of the session. However, we do encourage you to post in your question during the course of the discussion. So over to you, Mr. Prabhu.
Thank you, Megha. Good evening and welcome everyone to the panel. This is the last day of a 4-day event and again, last panel. In a typical physical event, it would be like extremely challenging to run this. By now, a major part of the audience would be running to catch their flights. But the advantage with virtual event is there's in fact a good evening coffee time to attend this panel with all the enthusiasm. We have a great set of panelists from FM services organization that too almost all of them have specific additional focus on sustainability. So let us get started. I'll start with the first question, which is becoming a very common question, repetitive, but this is one question that is there in everyone's mind now. And all of us are eager to hear about what is really happening now on the ground. So how are digital transformation initiative looked at now after the pandemic? Is there any extreme swing, like there is a lot of increased focus or very little focus or no change? How are you seeing in reality, because all of you are from the FM services space? I would like to start with Rashid from Innova. Like you can share your views and then other panelists can pitch in.
Of course, thank you to give me the floor. So first of all, I would like to introduce myself very quickly. My name is Rashid Hamida. I've been working for Innova for 3 years. I'm a Technology and Performance Director. And I'm very happy here to share with you some experience and some use cases. Coming back to your question, I would say that the pandemic has rapidly speeded up the digital transformation, globally speaking. And many companies had to play catch up, either on IT aspect or cyber securities. Both of them went above and beyond in order to meet the new challenges, I would say. I do believe this trend will be continue for at least another few years, as remote and digital operations are now in focus in every industry. Fortunately, at Innova, it wasn't the COVID that started or accelerated our digital transformation. Thanks to our digital roadmap, all aspects of our business have been digitalized already, as we have been working on digitalization across 4 pillars. The pillars are digital employee, digital customer, digital operations, and digital offer. At this point, I would like to congratulate all the team, amazing Innova team that is a strong and innovative backbone on our business.
Yeah, thank you, Rashid. Going over to Javeria, can you share your views on how do you see digital transformation happening on the ground?
Thank you, Prabhu. My name is Javeria Ajas. I'm the Director ICT at Fanuc. I share the same opinion as Rashid just said. With this pandemic, we just enter into the whole new world where people and businesses are forced to go digitalize. There's an unseen pressure and ultimate requirement if they want to stay competitive and run their business. So not only FM, I would say every business, for the sake of communication, they have to go onto virtual collaboration. And hence, as per Microsoft, they've seen more than 700% spike in the use of cloud services. And hence, yes, the data privacy, security, and cyber attack become very significant. And it's putting a pressure not only on the IT streams, but definitely on the business operations also, how they should digitalize and make their roadmap. In case of Fanuc as well, we have already recognized the need of digitalization earlier this year, and we already went live with our e-procurement portal, which is taking care of procure to pay process. We already made many of our back office operation digitalized, make them paperless, and already on a roadmap of bringing this digitalization in every process that we do back and to the customer base. But in general, I would say FM industry, we saw there is a big wave of operational technology coming, not only smart sensors, but we saw cleaning industry bringing robotics for sanitization, which is the ultimate requirement of this pandemic. So digitalization, I would say, became an ultimate theme of 2020 after COVID. But it's a good time for technology. It's very important for the strategic management to think and bring it more and more. So this digitalization I would say would not stay only during this pandemic. I think this will become a norm of every businesses moving forward.
Thank you, Javeria. Can we ask Robert to pitch in now?
Thanks, Prabhu. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name's Rob White. I'm the head of technology and innovation at Energy Solutions. So we're a sustainable energy and services solutions provider who've been operating in the Middle East since 2008. In terms of the digital transformation and the pandemic then, the pandemic has been a forcing factor that has accelerated the uptake and the requirement for digital initiatives for our clients. This includes solutions such as remote monitoring and control of assets, condition-based maintenance to reduce exposure in spaces, and then, as mentioned, IoT sensors for solutions including air quality services. So to summarize that, yeah, I would say we were already seeing a big uptake in digital transformation initiatives, but it's been further accelerated by the pandemic.
Thank you, Robert. Finally, Badr, can you share your views?
Yeah, I think there are two sides of this issue. One is running your own business as a service provider, which I think everyone, it's not only just the facilities management industry, but all industries, they have been forced to move into digitalization and moving their data into the cloud and starting interacting remotely. But I think what is important for us, how we can bring that move to our clients who we are serving them, and most of them, they don't have their own teams to go with it. So basically, yes, I agree with all the points from my colleagues, but in addition to that, the intention is there with all the clients. But many of them, they are going through the low cash flow, and they are struggling with managing that. So it is not the right time for them now to go and invest, even if they started now realizing that if they would have those processes have been digitized and moving into automation and technologies in their buildings, it would have been much easier for them and less impact. That is already there. The awareness is there. If they were going to build today, definitely they were going to choose different product and different strategies for their buildings. But right now, still most of the people working on the old contract, trying to recover from the the fall down of the pandemic. But yes, it is coming, but it will going to take a little bit more time to see it in action and start seeing all those technologies coming into the building and the digitization of the client side or the service side, and it's not only just our own businesses.
Okay. Thank you. I think we are seeing a sort of a balanced response here. Predominantly, everybody feels that it is happening and probably faster than before. And Badr also shared his views that it should happen eventually, but as of now, there is some level of caution from customers because of cash flows and budget. My own personal feeling is that the value of this, the potential value creation by using technology has always been really understood that it is high. But traditionally, the progress have been very incremental. And if you see last 5, 6 years, it's been very incremental, partly because of a lot of constraints about how the business model is structured, how it is outsourced, budget constraints, customer perception about whole operations and maintenance. But COVID itself is a huge external factor that has put in a major shock to the industry. And I think this is a good time where the traditional way of looking at it is challenged, and even both customers and the service providers will start looking at technology in a more different way. So having said that, next I would like to take some examples, specific examples from the panelists on digital initiatives, which you feel would set the FM companies on the path to wider success. If each one of you can pick up one example, it could be a use case, it could be a specific project that you are going to execute or already working, or a specific problem that you're trying to solve using digitization. It will be a very good takeaway for audience if we can talk about some examples. So maybe can we start with Robert on that?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Prabhu. So in terms of key digital initiatives, if I give you some examples of what we've been doing at NG Solutions. So as an organization, we've already reflected on ourselves and used data to transform the way that we operate and our service models. So we're offering as a service solutions for our clients, which are performance-based contracts, which utilize live data from the buildings. And as well, back to Badr's point, offering to finance those projects for our clients as well in the challenging times certainly helps. So within these solutions, they're made up of the key digital initiatives, which you asked about, which can include smart buildings platforms, software for both energy and O&M purposes, as well as technical hardware solutions. Also, the deployment of IoT sensors is really big now for our services, and also mobile applications for both ourselves and our clients to keep people connected. And the real reason why these digital initiatives are successful is because they improve both our clients and our efficiency and operating costs, especially during the challenging times.
Thanks, Robert. Performance-based contracts, remote monitoring, these are like really good ones to get started now. Any of the other panelists would like to pitch in? Javiria, yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, I mean, it's a very interesting era that we are going through, not specifically, obviously, COVID has a significance and it has given rise to touchless solutions. But overall, as I mentioned earlier, that Fanuc had a vision, and Fanuc was already working on a roadmap of digitalization from the back office operations, reducing papers and bringing paperless solution in terms of HR procurement solution, our online payment method for our domestic customer with Apple and Google Pay. But specifically in relation to COVID, Fanuc has implemented facial recognition and temperature monitoring solution, which is not only looking after recording attendance for the automated payroll, but it is monitoring employee health, which is a responsibility and a requirement by Dubai municipality, also for the safer workplace and the buildings. So there are many interesting technology initiatives comes in, and it all depends on how you apply it as a use case, which gives you better return on investment in terms of efficient processes supporting our service delivery.
Thank you, Javiria. Can we ask Rashid on some of the examples that from your side?
Yeah, of course. So the first example that comes to me that I would like to share with you is focusing on indoor environmental quality. Did you know that many buildings, school, all the rooms at the same level, regardless if is there people in them or not, and even at night when the building is empty? This is not only a waste of energy, but also not adapted to the building occupants' needs. All we agree that a full meeting room needs more cooling and more fresh air than an empty corridor. So thanks to the smart sensor and our digital support tools, we can monitor CO2 levels, humidity, as well as temperature in real time, or for an ultimate occupant comfort. I'd like also to give two different examples, as our experience shows that different type of facilities require different solutions. The first one is in a controlled environment with predictable occupation, such as cinemas, school auditorium, and so on. We work on approach of audit, implementation of measure, and audit again to check that what we implemented is working. A concrete example was how we handle the fresh air in Vox Cinema in city center Daira. This is a tangible example. The second one is in constantly and predictably changing environment, such as hotels and malls. Through our apps with live data and virtual floor plan, we implement this solution, and it was successfully implemented at 7 Majid Al Futtaim shopping malls across UAE and Oman, notably Mall of Emirates, City Center Mirdif, Daira, Ajman, Sharjah, Fujairah, and Muscat.
Thank you, Rashid. I think the aspects like the touchless that Javiria explained and air quality, dynamic controls, these are good ones that the pandemic triggered, but they are here to stay for a very long period because they anyway have a continuous positive impact on health, wellness, and also the operational performance. So finally, Badr, can you share many examples for the audience to
Yeah, actually, as I said, my focus always into my client, because the majority of the people who they are benefiting from those things, they are the end users, whether it's my client or the occupant of the buildings that my clients own, or the day-to-day visitors. And actually, the thing which have been forced to, it's the measuring temperature remote with the sensors, reducing the need for the workforce or the man force to do those activities, replacing the thumbprint with the face recognition. But again, not all the clients were able to absorb that cost in all their properties. So each property have to have its own solution. It depends on the number of people, visitors, and all that. So that's where the FM service provider roles comes to set that priorities. Because again, resources are limited, whether it's with us as a service provider in the capacity we can handle the issues, or the resources with our clients as a financial or the capacity to follow up on orders. So we have to optimize that for our client. But the buildings which they originally occupied with more, let's say, indoor sensors for CO2, humidity, and temperature, they have been managed more smoothly than the buildings that running with the traditional systems, and those which they can control remotely from the BMS systems. The responses were much easier, much faster, and even with no contact with the people within the spaces. So that the differences which we have noticed on that, and even the clients have noticed that. And I would say now people will go toward having more control, and not only just to limit the things into monitoring when it comes to the BMS or remote monitoring. So the control now become as a necessity, not like before. It's only just getting the complaints or monitoring the issues. So that is what I can say about it. But still, the majority under the stress of the low cash flow, they couldn't do all what they wanted to do.
Okay. This is an excellent insight, like anything that automation, either through sensors or process automation, and your insight about properties that already had sensors were able to manage the situation better, faster compared to those without. These are very good insight. It's amazing that uh, a lot of these things, like even this performance-based contracts, touchless, COVID-specific implementation that Javiria spoke about, and air quality monitoring, dynamic controls, all of these, I think, I'm sure, like a lot of these would have happened much faster in last 8 9 months, or probably like only last 6 months, which is which I always feel is, in spite of all the negative impact that COVID had, these are something positive that we are seeing, where traditionally these kind of project would have taken like 1 year to pilot, and then 1 year to get budget, and then it's like you're talking about 2 years to implement. So this is actually good progress. And I always feel that because there is an external factor, external sudden change that has happened, this is the right time for leadership, both individual leaders and also the organizations, to make bolder bets in terms of both projects, in terms of even trying out newer business model. All these innovations is the right time to go and try that. So with that, we can move to our next topic, where, because we have many of the panelists who are specifically focusing on sustainability. So, from your point of view, how you're seeing the sustainability focus now, and in terms of projects, are they progressing? What is the um, uh, per- perception from the end customers? Do they want to invest now? So, this is the next question. Can we start with Badr, like?
Yeah, when we talk about sustainability, it goes into two directions: the general sustainability of the whole environment
Yeah,
and the sustainability of the business.
yeah.
Definitely, the sustainability of the business is the target for everyone, because now they have realized the difficulties during the pandemic and the COVID-19, especially when there was a partial and full lockdown. So that awareness is there, and people are eager now to have more sustainable plans for their businesses, serving their customers and that end. But when it comes to the environment, I think people being busy with the other things and struggling with the business issue, maintaining the businesses and taking care of their employees, keeping their boats floating, have reduced their focus into doing more into the environmental sustainability. So if we talk about that part, not much have been done in there. We have diverted little from there, and most of the focus is now into surviving the businesses, setting plans not to have the same effect of issues like the COVID-19 when it started. That is what I'm seeing in front of me now with the businesses around us.
Okay. How about Robert? Like you're from NG more. You're a lot of focus on sustainability. How you're seeing it on the field now?
Thanks, Prabhu. Yeah, with regards to sustainability, there is one other good thing to come from COVID, and that's the positive impact that's being had on climate change now, and the improved sustainability around the globe. So with the new remote way of working, our own operations are already having a positive impact on the planet, which is great. But with regards to the businesses, as Bader said, in these challenging financial times, clients are looking to reduce their operating costs and also their expenditure. So technology-based solutions and projects, such as ESCO projects and O&M projects, are a way to do this and reduce utility use and in turn improve sustainability.
Okay. How about Rashid? Can you share what you are seeing in the field?
Yeah. As certified ESCO at Enova, Enova has long been an advocate of integrating energy management with facilities management. We believe that together they can build a virtuous circle. Indeed, generating utility savings can be reinvested in modernization of the asset, which in return will generate more savings and so on. One interesting point that has been raised by Mr. Badr is the capex. On that regard, a lack of budget can no longer be used as excuse, as there are business models in which the generated savings pay for the initial asset modernization investment. Now to one concrete use case that we perform at Majid Al Futtaim Tower 2, it's an office building. We was able to achieve savings without any capex investment. The energy conservation measures were purely data driving and powered through our smart monitoring platform called Hubgrade.
Great. Finally, Javidia, can you share your views?
Thank you, Prabhu. So, yeah, I agree with my colleagues on the panel here that yes, it has COVID pandemic has heightened the awareness of the importance of addressing environmental challenges. Not only that, for businesses, as we can see, being FM, even there is a change in the way we work or the businesses operate from virtually any location. But at the end of the day, the buildings has to operate at the optimum performance. But the need of all the material and all the supply chain process that need more focus, that it has to be more resilient. Sustainability initiatives require special attention. Fanuc has, again, apart from the initiatives for remote monitoring and remote working initiatives, we also looked into initiative of sustainable masks. So we came up with the whole thing about collecting plastic bottles at our headquarters, which we work with our third-party company called Degrade, and who are already making eco clothes by recycling these plastic bottles. So these masks, they not only reduce PPE waste, but also protect our staff, and that the design meets WHO recommendation. So there is a constant need from the business side how to operate and how to be more sustainable in terms of supply chain. But at the same time, these initiatives are also significant to contribute towards the environment.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I think there is one view where anything that requires more investment is going to be difficult now. We also heard from Rashid that there are business model where with very less investment or no investment, customers can go ahead with these projects. But generally, when the whole digital initiative starts to kick in, there is a, and also the FM service providers companies, when they start focusing on sustainability, one big advantage I see is that even without big retrofit projects, just with habit changing tools, where you're creating awareness to customers, awareness to occupants, plus awareness to the field services team, plus automation, data, all of these will bring in like continuous improvements in the way buildings operate. Their percentage of savings will not, probably will not be like 30-40% like retrofit projects, but they could be very sustainable, even less than even single digit savings. But it could be like a continuous optimization that will end up with a substantial outcome in like 2 to 3 years. So I think that is one way both FM service providers and the customers can look at how can we partner with the FM service providers to bring in continuous sustainability. So moving on, so I would like to touch upon one aspect on the people aspect, where as leaders, after the pandemic, what are some of the key alignments that you yourself or even your company have done with respect to both business? How do you build the business from here, because the situations are challenging? Also, any sort of strategic team org level changes that you've done? Any takeaways that you can give? Of course, so if something is sensitive, you may not share, but any takeaways for the audience, where how your organization and you yourselves are prepared during the last few months to take on the challenge over the next, say, couple of years. What are the org level challenges, changes you've done, process level changes? Any sort of insights into it? Um, can we start with Javiria yourself?
Okay, so definitely, I mean, this is something new, which is worldwide with this pandemic. So obviously, to deal and to keep into the business and operate them and maintain the buildings that we are, as an FM company, we are managing, we need more resilient management to develop, implement, and manage broader risk management strategies. So this is one of the specific things that Fanuc also focused on. There is a whole thing about how the ICT infrastructure need to be more strong to support working virtually from any location. The operational technology, how it can be more enhanced, and definitely price is the factor. The whole market is driven by the cost, but yes, we need to find those ways that how we can digitalize more and more. So there's a focus of skills, tech savvy employees who can contribute towards more and more digitalized process and giving more efficiency to our business. And at the same time, there's a standards and more frameworks that we need to appreciate. So Fanuc has also went into GPAC certification for cleaning and disinfection. So there's all different elements has to come together in terms of the structure of the company, where we need to train more people, we need to bring more frameworks into the business on how we do the new FM rather than doing it traditionally.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else wants to pitch in?
Yeah, if you allow me, just to add into that, I think the world is going to change and it will never go back to before COVID. And everybody have realized that. So, and during the hard time of the pandemic, a lot of lessons learned in there. Sometimes we have succeeded because we were lucky, or we have pre-planned things and we have some resources which helped us to pass that. And in certain areas, we couldn't do what we supposed to do because of certain difficulties. But all those lessons now, we are taking them with us to the future. And definitely all our old strategies will not going to help us moving forward. We have to have completely new strategies that should contains resilience, flexibility, and a quick changing on demand, and acting quickly to the client's requirements. So all that have to be within the new strategies to be set. Any organization will going to continue on their old strategy, or they will going to do a new strategy on the traditional way. I think they will going to have a difficulties in the future. The world is changing and we're going to change more rapidly. And we have to have a strategies to cope with that quick changes. In addition to what my colleagues have said, all the future is relying on the technologies. People starting working more from homes. They are starting spending more time inside the buildings. So we have to take care more into the indoor environments where they can really do their work and live within those confined spaces comfortably. That's what the FM industry should focus on. And that is where we can add value to our end users and the clients.
Okay, thank you. Robert, can you share any new alignment your company or yourself have done?
Yes, yeah, sure, of course. So one of our key initiatives at Engie is the Operations Control Center that we run in Dubai, which is the heartbeat of our operations. So within this center, we're collecting asset, energy, and FM data, and we're using this data for AI and machine learning to help drive our internal operations. So within the center, we're utilizing smart platforms for energy and O&M, and there's over 7,000 clients connected worldwide. But most importantly, we're using this data to empower our engineers and our technicians to increase their efficiency, as well as providing remote support from local experts in the Operations Control Center and also worldwide.
Okay, great, thank you. Rashid, finally, your inputs.
Yeah, of course, I do agree with all what my colleagues have said. I join also and agree with Javeria in the fact that our employees, our team is our asset at the end. So for us, this comes down to the work culture that is encouraged by the leader team. At Enova, we have reward good ideas program in place and also encourage our team member to share their knowledge with their peers. One of concrete example is our power hour. For example, Ahmed, one of our energy analysts who specialized on user-friendly data presentation through dashboard and so on, explains the capabilities of the software and tools used to the team to both teach them and receive their improvement suggestions. In addition, we benefit from global talent training program around digitalization and agile methodologies that are organized by one of our shareholders there.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Good insights. I think this is a good time for the entire FM workforce to become more value driven, move up the ladder, start creating higher value outcomes in terms of both training, new skills, new services, and eventually where the FMs become a strategic part of the customers. A customer could be a retail vendor or a mall or any other enterprise, but how come the FM services providers themselves become a key strategic partner for them? I hope eventually these change will be fast tracked now with all the digitization and other things, other initiatives that are happening. Finally, to end with, I would like to do a quick rapid fire question. So there are two questions to everyone. One is, what is that one thing you feel that it is good, it goes away from the industry, it is no more, we get rid of it? And what is one thing that which is your wish list, which actually happens from now, things change. If this could happen, this will take us ahead. Can we start with Mr. Badr? So one thing you want to get away.
Nothing in my mind for things we have to take out of the industry or the service now. But I think if I would add what we should do more, I think the awareness for everyone, for my clients to understand their core business so they can focus on it and they can have the best performance in there and leave all the support services to those who they do it as their core business. That is the biggest challenge in there. And I think now with the change on the world, everyone should focus on what he can do best and not to start to do everything because he can afford to. So let everyone do their use their best talents on what they can do best, and you focus on your core. The other side of it, the awareness within the industries. We have to bring those new technologies and especially the IoT things into our workforce, and that will require a full awareness not only on the team that will going to do the implementation and manage it, but the whole organization have to understand it, because at the end of the day, if we look into the future 10 years from now, everything will be digitized, everything will be remotely controlled, everything will be going into the technology, and most probably all the data will be on the cloud if it moves on the same direction which we can see now. Are we preparing our workforce, even the old ones which they started late with the computers, to catch up with that? Or we are relying only just the new generation who they are already being bored into this new technology to take us there? That is a vital question in there, and it have to be answered by all the organization, and they have to build their awareness strategy around it, because you don't need only just the new generation to bring it forward, but also you need the old generation to give you all those wisdoms and the experience from the past when we haven't had all those technologies. So you need both, but putting them together, that is the difficult part.
Okay, okay. Yeah, next person, maybe Robert, real rapid fire. What is something that you wish or you are seeing that it's already going away? What is something that you wish that it will become mainstream or adoption will increase?
In terms of what should end, I suppose I hope this is the end of excess travel and it continues to be so. You know, both for environmental reasons, but also staff well-being and people having a better work-life balance and less traveling. So that's what I hope it's the end of. In terms of becoming more mainstream, so the retrofit of some digital initiatives is made more challenging by older legacy technology that's out there in buildings now. We've been demonstrating that new open protocol technology that can be maintained by anyone makes financial sense to our clients. So I hope for the continued uptake of this technology goes on to help accelerate digitalization globally.
Okay, yeah. Javinia?
Okay, so very interesting conversation, I must say. Here, in terms of my wish list, I would say that yes, definitely working from anywhere, but the cost of technology, as we saw that the cost of technology has been reduced, cost of hard disk has reduced over the time. So same apply for the cost of all the latest technologies coming from Industry 4.0 that reduces, and the technology and all these smart solution becomes more and more affordable from the client side as well as from the FM side, so that the true value of digitalization and remote monitoring and control can be enjoyed not only by specific sets of the client, but by everyone. The takeaway, I would definitely highlight here the importance of the value of technology. So we should not, it's great to have technology, but we should not have technology for the sake of technology. We need to really collaborate with our asset owners, with our owners association, and find the synergies between us. And there we need to look into what benefits are we getting out from investing and digitalizing our processes. Here, smart sensors, we know there is a number of smart sensors. The cost is going up and down everywhere, but where do you invest it? So you need to look into the value coming out of your investment. For example, leakages happening in your skyscrapers. So elevators being one of the expensive part of the building. So you need to find out where you are investing and what value you are getting out of it, and build more collaboration with your client, with your partners in your ecosystem, so you can find those synergies and bring a better value for your technology investment.
Thank you. Your first point, actually, I didn't hear it clearly on the cost of technology. I'm joking. Okay. So yeah, finally, Rashid, your inputs.
Okay. As I'm the final for this question, I would like to make it a little bit funny, but while staying serious and tangible. So my wish list is no more bulky computers and a flexible work condition. So at Innova, all usual office-based stuff is equipped with laptop and has the option to work from home. We already lived this situation during the pandemic. We assess it, and we are fully convinced that it will not affect neither the well-being of our employees nor the quality of our delivery.
Okay, great. Thank you. Just to summarize, some of the things you feel should go away is the whole like better work-life balance should come. The current model of firefighting should go away. That is one thing I noted down. The next one is how technology can be commoditized, become more affordable, reachable, and third point is better technology, better working tools for employees, more flexible working models. And on the what should become mainstream, some of the wish list is the whole awareness of technology and its value for customers, legacy systems moving away to modern systems. And Javier spoke about value-driven technology, like rather than just being applying it just for the sake, can we have more value-driven tech? Very good inputs. Personally, from my side, I would say one thing I would like to go away is this whole model of extremely price-driven, lowest bid as a common model, where if customers can look at more a better business model which enables innovation, which looks at higher value creation rather than just like go with lowest bid. So that I think that will enable the FM service providers to be to have more bandwidth, more creative, and become higher value creators. And something which I feel which is already happening, and it's always been in my wish list, is the long sales cycle in our industry. Everything takes 2 to 3 years. Anything new, if it can become faster, if leaders can become start or empowered to make decisions faster, that will be really good because the value is realized faster. And we are clearly seeing that it is already happening. Even from the panel, we heard projects like touchless, remote management, all of that being enabled within this 2020, which is a good sign. So that I think longer time, these faster push decision making, more conclusive decision making will help our industry. With that, we come to the end of the panel. I once again thank all the panelists. They've been very, very interesting. Lot of good takeaways. We will move to the Q&A. Let me read out the questions. Question from Avdut Shinde. What more can be done to bring in more creative and economic digital solution to FM companies? Anybody wants to take that question? Very generic one, but anybody wants to take? Yeah. So what more can be done? I think a lot of things are happening now. And generally, um, there is an increased focus towards technology. And when it comes to solutions, there are a lot of solutions, a lot of vendors, a lot of good solutions available. And I think this is a good time where, as leaders, the FM industry starts like picking up the right ones and moving fast. There is one question on big data, like how does big data drive your business decisions? Yeah, so any panelist where have you really done any big data projects that's been already done, and are you seeing decision being made with that? Anybody can share? Yeah, please.
Yeah, if you allow me for this topic, so far we've seen on the market that IoTs, as well as the cost of network, internet, and so on, is dropping down. So this is a huge opportunity to collect more and more data, to combine it with the existing BMS as well. At Innova, we already in HubGrid, we already connected more than 22,000 data points across several facilities, and now what those data allow us is to understand much better the behavior of the building itself. And once we will learn the behavior of the buildings, we can provide and develop some predictive model in order to be close to the optimal running of the asset in the building.
Okay, good. Anyone else want to pick the data questions? Yeah, yeah, please go ahead.
I was just going to say, yeah, I can add to that. I think typically, with regards to data, typically solutions have been looking at alerts and rule-based algorithms and things like that to identify variance in the data sets. But where it becomes more developed or more intelligent is with machine learning, such as unsupervised learning. When you have a new asset, but you don't have the history about the asset, you don't know when it broke down, or what techniques can we use on that data to try and predict fault and failure. And we're seeing some really interesting results with that at the moment.
Okay, great. Just one small input from my side. Like we haven't really seen literally the big data projects yet, but a lot of we have seen that customers who are using data to make decision. Simple things like skills, data about skills of field service, availability of field service, location of field service teams, and like proper predefined prioritization of tickets coming from customers. These data-driven decisions have helped, even though they are very simple, they were of tremendous help, clubbed with mobility, real-time escalations for customers, particularly the FM service providers, to operate efficiently, even with all the constraints about social distancing, less workforce. These kind of data-driven decisions have been like phenomenally helpful. One interesting question is, can you suggest business model that have already worked for you with less investment and maximum returns? Anybody wants to pick that one?
Yeah, sure. I think it's been talked about already in terms of the ESCO models, for example, but organizations such as ourselves are bringing finance to the table now for projects. So any project that has a return on investment, such as a ESCO model EPC contract, we can bring the finance. Therefore, there's no large capital expenditure for the clients, and they repay the investment by sharing a part of the savings. I mean, the model's not new. The market is already very well established in the UAE, and that's certainly one way that we can make projects more accessible to clients.
Great, great. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Badr. You wanted to, yeah.
I think the things that you don't need an investment on it and can give you a great return in the FM industry is changing the behavior of the end users, and that's what many facility managers they ignore. And by just hitting 5% into energy saving by changing the behavior, that is a huge rewarding on the long run. But if you do it only a small period of time, you will not going to realize the amount of saving. So anything to do with just the awareness with the people to do more saving and improve efficiency, that it's a win-win situation in the FM industry.
Yeah. Anyone else want to pick up this question?
Yeah, I fully agree with Mr. Badr. Of course, the most green energy is the energy that we don't consume, obviously. And when it comes to the business model, there is we are providing, just to summarize it, three main business model. The first one is the one that I mentioned during our panel discussion, is zero capex, fully driven by the data analysis and so on, and trying to understand a bit more the behavior and fine-tune the asset and so on in order to provide the savings. The second one is to combine facility management or operation and maintenance and multi-technical aspect with the energy management. And the third one is the ones that has been mentioned by Mr. Robert, which is the full EPC with the commitment, either with the performance-based contract or on sharing savings.
Okay, great. Yeah. Yes. One insight from my side is that the question here is more on like less investment, maximum returns. What we are seeing is it's a process where we are seeing FM companies, two things. A, they are trying to get closer to customer, picking up on what Badr was sharing. How do we connect with the customers in a better way in terms of technology, apps, understand the customer behaviors, looking at how frequently they are facing problems, all those stuff. That is one which will have a bigger return because you are building a trust with the customers, you are reducing the friction. That is one thing we are seeing in last few months happening rapidly, where particularly the FM service providers are picking technology that helps them to get closer to customers, start understanding the patterns and all this stuff. That is one area. Next area is less investment, more returns is the data story. Our industry, specifically the FM and buildings, we already have a lot of data, already unused. The potential is not being like really reaped. So that is where what Robert was talking about. Everything is driven around data. Even within putting a lot of new sensors, whatever is data is available, if that can be put into proper use with tech, there is huge returns waiting for us there. So these are two areas, points I would like to share. We just have 2 minutes. One question from me, anyone can pick. So during last 7-8 months, from a FM service provider's point of view, have you seen any new services that you are launched that is generating revenue for you as a FM service providers? That could be a takeaway if there are customers listening to this, or even FM companies listening. This could be a good takeaway. Where are there any interesting new services that you launched recently and that is generating revenue for you and adding value to the customer, like other than the traditional service that we have been always doing? Yeah.
But just quickly, the biggest, I mean, post-pandemic biggest request was indoor air quality, definitely. Because the client are more sensitive about this topic, either our direct client, the facility management manager, and so on, or in guest and occupant side.
Okay, great.
I would like to add here that, I mean, not a completely new service, but what we have further enhanced is obviously moving from traditional cleaning to more like a disinfection, which is obviously a requirement of today's time. And Fanuc is using all the chemicals which is municipality approved, which is disinfecting the viruses and all the bacteria. So it's more like moving away from traditional cleaning to more like a disinfection services that we are focusing more and more on.
Great, great.
Yeah, I'd reiterate on some of the solutions that have been touched upon already today. Remote monitoring and control, for example, through the Operations Control Center. The uptake of IoT is massive now. Smart technology and mobile applications, both for our operators and for the end users to drive performance.
Very interesting. Air quality, disinfection, remote monitoring. To add to that, we are also seeing that the whole government compliance, risk management, that is also something customers are reaching out to FM service providers where can you guys help us with, there is a lot of government compliance coming in. We want to adhere to it. Can you help us with either first is do that, and then can you help us with technology to scale it? Anything around risk, business risk management, even property risk management, health risk management. These are new things I've seen. Okay, great. So I think we had a very good set of insights. There is a lot of meatier things that we can see that that are emerging, particularly the health, wellness of occupants on one side, and then OPEX reduction initiative on the other side when it comes to remote monitoring, command center, sustainability. These are like I think for FM service provider, very, very interesting times. And also the trend of faster decision making will actually help. And of course, like what Javiria pointed out, the tech should be more value driven and more affordable. Good. I think that's we have come to the end. Thank you very much for both the panelists and the audience for attending it. And thank you, Megha and team, for the fantastic event, 4-day event. And we are lucky that we are ending this event. Like our panel is the last one to put the screen off. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.